we're going to talk about Beetlejuice.
Don't say it.
This is the highly anticipated sequel. How many years later from the original?
36 or something.
Yeah, I think it was what year did the original one come out? Like 87?
I thought it was
maybe 89?
Somewhere around there.
Producer, get on your phone and look it up.
Got it.
We need to get you a tablet. That way you can just have it here on the table. And
You need to get him something attached
1988.
88?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to get him something like attached to the TV, so you can like you can do like John Madden used to do.
Yeah, draw on the screen. That would be cool.
The date right here. We got the runtime down here, and if we move
The run actually made a right turn there. Then
all right, here's the year for the release date. Boom, 1988.
that'd be
And
good.
boom goes the
we got
dynamite.
to work on it. That'd be
Yeah, that would be cool.
It'll keep him engaged with the whole segment.
And do we really need to read the synopsis for this? I mean, I guess I can. The ghost with the most is back. After a family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life is turned upside down when her teenage daughter, Astrid, accidentally opens the portal to the afterlife. But listen, I'm just going to say it right now. I gave this 4 stars. I had a lot of fun watching this in the theaters. And I might actually, I know PBS is going to smack me for this. I might actually enjoy it a little bit more than I enjoy the first one.
Because you're stupid.
No.
God,
And listen,
so mean.
like the first one,
Piece of yet.
Jesus Christ.
You're being really obnoxious right now. Yeah, buddy, I've had it out for your ass ever since I saw that you rated Beetlejuice 4 stars and only gave the original 3.5.
Yeah, well, and I watched the original before I watched this one.
Yeah, were you high while you were doing it, you fucking druggie?
Maybe.
I wouldn't blame you, but like, how else are you going to watch Beetlejuice?
And listen, I'm not saying that Beetlejuice isn't a great movie. It's a staple of my childhood. I love Beetlejuice. But, rewatching it as an adult, I really had some issues with Lydia's character, man. She's such a crybaby in that first one.
She's a teenager, sir.
Oh, my God.
She's a gothy teenager.
I think we were all teenagers here, and we didn't dream about death and all this other bullshit that she cries about in that first one.
You obviously didn't have a teenage goth face. So.
No, I didn't. I did not. But I really enjoyed this one. I'm not Tim Burton's biggest fan. I mean, I love the movies that I love from Tim Burton. I fucking love. Yeah. But Beetlejuice, just it was really fun, and I mean, the moments that were funny, I was cracking up over. Like, there's a couple scenes where they're like singing the songs and stuff, and that cracked me up.
There's one which he's playing a guitar, which is really funny.
The cast is all really good. Michael Keaton just doesn't look like he missed a step as Beetlejuice. Like, it looks like he's been doing it all these years. And Catherine O'Hara,
she killed it.
Catherine O'Hara really steals the show in this movie.
I just kept thinking of her character from Schitt's Creek.
Yeah,
David.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not far of a departure from that character and this character. I liked how they kind of obviously they couldn't put the dad in this one because he's a pedophile.
Well,
he's dead.
He's not a pedophile. Not to split hairs.
He's a pedophile
because Jeffrey Jones.
He's a pedophile.
Jeffrey Jones, yeah.
He, the thing I like Jeffrey Jones as an actor.
Yeah, he's a fine actor.
The principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Obviously, the dad in Beetlejuice.
He's the bad guy in Howard the Duck.
Yep. Okay, I didn't know that. He's in. We talked about a little bit. Hunt for Red October with James Earl Jones. He's got a small part in that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He was the newspaper guy in Deadwood.
Oh yeah. So he was.
As an actor, I kind of really like him, but unfortunately, he likes taking pictures of little boys
and requesting things.
Well, that's like I say, not to split hairs. I don't think he did anything like physically. But he did request pictures and all that stuff. So, like I said, I don't want to split hairs.
So, was he a pedophile at heart? I mean,
well, there's always that argument of does some stuff keep them from actually doing other stuff and all that? It's a little. Above,
I get what you're saying.
It's above our pay grade. Still not cool, not legal. Blah blah blah.
He's the Mike Davis of actors.
So it is definitely
Mike Davis got busted. He's the local weatherman. He was the local weatherman here for years in Columbus, and he got busted with like 40,000
images
pictures.
or whatever.
I mean, I'm probably lowballing it when I say 40,000. And his
As
thing,
if 40,000 is a low ball, right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
bad.
But when he had his trial, he was like, I've never done anything to kids. I'm just obsessive with these pictures, and it's like, you're obsessive pedophile. That's what you are.
Yeah. So again, I don't want to split hairs too much, but definitely not a cool, not cool.
But
Definitely,
it was
definitely a reason for him to not be in this film.
it was cool how they did them. They kind of explained why he was. They made a reason up for him not being in the movie, but they did it claymation style, and I thought that was really cool.
Other people have mentioned for not wanting him in the movie, they do show his face quite a lot.
Yeah.
Which was really
Yeah.
kind of odd.
Well, he's still
there was a moment
resembles
of
it.
thinking, like, gosh, they've had him in this movie so much. Maybe they should have just had
Right.
him for real. Like,
Yeah.
just get rid of his picture. Just don't show it.
He does get eaten by a shark.
He
There.
does get eaten by sharks. Yeah.
Spoilers. But yeah,
He does not have a face in the afterlife.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought everybody was good in this. Catherine O'Hara, like I said, steals the show. Michael Keaton is great. And it's funny, it felt like there was a lot more Beetlejuice in this than the first one, even though it's like 17 minutes that he's actually on screen or whatever. And I know a lot of people complained because they wanted Monica Bellucci to be more of an antagonist than what she was in this.
Or less.
That's what's portrayed as. Like,
Yeah, but she's not the real villain.
right. But
she's not the real villain.
portrayed at the beginning, like, oh, she's gonna be the big bad, antagonist, and then it's kind of like just falls off. That's the problem I have.
But I really had fun watching this. I love the sets they did, the vision that he had for the underworld, and a couple of the actors that they had in the underworld, like the Danny DeVito scene was great. William Dafoe was awesome in this. If you didn't laugh at William Dafoe, are you human?
Jackson.
Yeah, he plays like a former like leading actor that died on a set or something.
Hand grenade, a real live hand grenade. He did his own stunts.
Yeah, did his own stunts, and he ends up being the what was he, like a commissioner or something,
detective or something.
of the underworld police force or whatever. But he was really solid in this, and
He was funny.
Yeah, he was good, and I just thought it was for them being away from this movie for so long, and to pick up 30 years later and just write a script for this, and it to be as good, if not better, than the first one, is a very good accomplishment. And I've thought Tim Burton's washed for a long time now, but he made a banger, I thought. So that's just my opinion. We all receive the cinema in different ways, and I'm sure Mr. PBS is about to shit on me now.
I was kind of hoping movie Brock would have been here because he also gave this movie 4 stars, and I wanted to kind of berate you both in person.
Oh man.
And you know that the gif of Kevin Sorbo from Hercules where he's like saying disappointed?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was like a stage direction, but he actually said it. But if I were doing my reaction to this film, my gif would be frustration because I wanted to like this movie a lot. I only gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd. I couldn't even give it the 3.5 kind of pass that I really wanted.
I think you just don't want it to be better than the first one.
I mean, it's not going to be better than the first one. It's not.
Even it doesn't matter. Even if it is, universally is, you would not agree that it is better than the first one. You would be that guy that stands against the force of nature.
No. If it was better, I'd say it was better. But it's
No,
not
you
better.
wouldn't. You hold the first one so dear that
I mean,
nothing's ever going to touch
I do
it.
not. We talked about our 15 favorite movies or whatever a little while ago, and Tim Burton's Batman was in like my top 5 or 10 or whatever. And while that's more of a foundational movie than Beetlejuice was like a childhood staple. It was one of those movies you could just put on any time,
Yeah.
and watch the whole thing. My dad even like Beetlejuice jokes and all that. So yeah, I do have a foundational love for the first Beetlejuice, which is better than this Beetlejuice. They did the easiest way for me to describe it actually is I feel the same way about this as I did about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It was a movie where they tried to cram too much into one movie. Like this, and the movie's worse for it. I remember looking up the runtime right after this, thinking it was going to be maybe a 2-hour movie, but it wasn't. It's only like an hour and 45 or something. It's only like 12 minutes longer than the original Beetlejuice, but it felt longer.
Yeah, it felt way longer than what it was.
And it was just too much. Like you said, Michael Keaton's kind of the highlight. Just having him back as Beetlejuice is great. I've still got my Winona Ryder crush, so I'm glad she was back.
Winona Ryder still looks fine as hell.
Yeah. And I love Catherine O'Hara. She's the mom in Home Alone. I do think her character was a little over the top. Like, even when you look back at the first movie, it's like she's supposed to be kind of like an artsy fartsy, almost phony. Like the one character calls her a flake at one time. And so I do think there are moments where her character is a little over the top, but she's great in it. Justin Theroux's character,
He's such a piece of shit.
they could have cut him from the whole movie. He didn't do anything for me. I didn't think he was funny. And if they just
Who was he again?
he was
Lori, he was
the husband.
the
guy who wanted to marry her
Fiance,
agent and all
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I get what they were doing with that, but I didn't need. They could have got rid of that whole character and did some other stuff. Like you said, the Monica Bellucci, she was fine, but it either needed to be more about her or like less about her in a way. And I think my problem is I think they really should have focused on Jenna Ortega's storyline with she meets the boy back in her hometown, and it's Halloween it's in the movie it's Connecticut, in real life it's Vermont. Like, how are you not going to show me some Halloween in Vermont with some nice fall trees and all that? That should have been like sort of the focus of the movie. Mm-hmm. I think they could have cut out Jeffrey Jones. They could have cut out his death a little bit, and her dad in the movie has also died. So like I feel like they could have just like started the movie back there at the house and be like they've been dead for a little while and they're just kind of like back to clean out the house or something. And there's just too much. Like I say, even like Willem Dafoe, who's like funny in every scene, like they could have had less of him in a way. We didn't talk about Bob yet.
I wanted more Bob.
Bob is like my favorite new character in the whole movie. He gets the striped Beetlejuice suit on. He's shrunken head Bob with all the other shrunken heads.
I love Bob.
Okay, get back to work.
And I like there's a part in the movie where they make it out to the mortal world or whatever. They raise a little havoc. And there's a part where like Willem Dafoe assembles like a team of dead cops. They're all like the highway patrol, like Chips looking people.
Yeah.
I was hoping like in the climax, like they'd all meet, like the shrunken head Bobs would fight the Chips officers or whatever. And they did Bob dirty. That's all I'll say.
Yep,
they did Bob dirty.
They did.
And like I said, it's just
Without spoilers here. Keep going.
it is just too much. Like, I've wanted to like this so bad, and I did enjoy it. Like, I'm not like, oh, this is a terrible movie.
I think. See, I didn't expect it to be as good as I left. If when I left, I really loved it, and I just didn't expect to have that outcome. Mm-hmm. And so I guess it's just two polar opposite expectations and results afterwards.
You could just say I'm right and you're wrong.
No.
That's a polar opposite.
I just think that anything that touches something that you love dearly, you don't want anything to do with.
No, I'd have been fine. I wish it was better. I really do. Like, just like the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Like, I wish it had been a little better.
Yeah, that one, Ghostbusters just didn't. That last Ghostbusters, it was good, but it didn't deliver the expectations.
Too much. It was doing like you look. I rewatched.
I saw a lot of people hating on it because the sandworm was CGI and not like.
So what?
I thought the sandworm was practical.
It looked just like
I heard somebody complaining about it. Like,
really?
Yeah, I don't know.
The thing is, it's so hard anymore. I think to tell whether something, in some ways. Some things are harder to tell if they are practical or CGI.
Right.
And maybe it's because we just expect certain things to be CGI. We don't appreciate when it is physical.
Rob, you've been listening to us praise and bitch about it. What did you think? You might be the tiebreaker here.
So I liked it more than PBS, but less than yours. So I gave it 3.5. So
okay.
For what it is, I think it's done well for a movie that's a sequel that's over 30 years.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that we had more time with Beetlejuice with the story. I enjoyed all the characters. Like mentioned, Catherine O'Hara killed it. Over the top, but still.
Make sure you're talking into that mic.
And then the thing that got me is, I think with Mr. P, you asked about Monica Bellucci's character. Like they set her up to be like this, badass soul-sucking witch, and then it's kind of like fades away. Like it's kind of non-existent with her character. And it's kind of like, what's the point?
She's kind of like a misdirection, kind of cannon fodder character,
Yeah, it's like, well, it's going to sprinkle in here and just...
She's Tim Burton's girlfriend, so...
Oh.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Good for Tim Burton. That's a catch.
And then, so I would
I've always had a crush on
Monica
Bellucci.
When she was in The Matrix, 2, I believe. Yeah, she was like
What she was in that? What was the Clive? The shoot 'em up movie.
Shoot 'em up.
Was it shoot 'em up?
Yeah, shoot 'em up. Yeah.
Okay, she played like a mom that.
Mom.
Well, she was a hooker that, tended to people that like to drink breast milk.
Yeah.
So that's
All
what
G-
I'll forever remember her
All
as.
G might have killed in that movie too.
Oh yeah, definitely great movie.
So I would say that, but I hated there's an ending scene musical, which I didn't feel like it was needed. It was just so fucking stupid in my
Talking
opinion.
about the wedding?
Yeah,
musical?
it went on for too long.
I do think it
kinda
went on
like-
for too long.
I'm like, really? But that's the only one I didn't like musically about it. I just like
I don't even really remember disliking that. And normally I hate shit where people sing and move. You know what I
was
mean?
sitting there, I'm like, I don't.
Well, part of my complaint is I went back right after I saw that and went home and I watched Beetlejuice that night while I ate dinner, and it was just it showed how much more like simpler and economical it was, and even like you say, like the Day-O dinner scene in that one, it's just them singing like a really simple song and dancing around the table, whereas in this one it's a big like effects thing and they're floating up in
Production.
the air and everybody's doing it, and it's while it's fun, it's also kind of overdone like a lot of other things in the movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was.
I hope we
just
can
didn't
get
need it.
like your opinion and send it to Tim Burton and see if he sends us a video back. Like, shut
Look,
up.
this is literally the first Tim Burton movie I've watched in like 20 years. So that alone tells you how much I wanted to go back and see Beetlejuice and be back in that world again.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love Jenna Ortega's character as Astrid and her story, and I could have been the main focal point with that. But
I'm kind of tired of Jenna Ortega. Like, she's just popping up in too many things now.
she's getting overhyped.
Yeah. And, I mean, she's this. Dare I say that she doesn't have a whole lot of range? Like, it seems like
Well,
she's
playing the same character.
She's the same smart aleck character and everything, and it's kind of getting old to me. Like, she's the Vince Vaughn of her generation now.
Well, I mean, like, plus she did Wednesday. She's doing season 2 Wednesday, which is Tim Burton, and then she's doing this follow up. So
She's in the
that's
zone.
like-
Now, that being said, I didn't dislike her in this. I mean, I thought she was all right, and but she didn't do anything that made the movie over the top for me. I mean, Catherine O'Hara is probably the main reason why I like the movie.
That
Her
Michael
and Keaton.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
those two. Yeah.
Michael Keaton had some great lines, man.
Oh yeah.
But okay, so we have, you gave it a 3, I gave it a 4,
3.5.
you gave it a 3.5. So definitely see this. And if you're not a Beetlejuice fan or have never seen Beetlejuice, what are you waiting for? Get on Max, watch it, and then go see this at the movie theaters. Well, it'll probably be on demand by the time you hear our review, but
It'll be a little while longer.
yeah, it's
Especially, I think it's making some good money.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it did well the first week or whatever.
I think it did above expectations. I could be wrong. I haven't looked at it lately, but
well, I could go to, hold on here, Box Office Mojo. We'll do Beetlejuice.
So far at 264 million worldwide, I believe.
You believe? 264,306,000 worldwide. Domestically, it made $188 million. Internationally, it made $76 million. I wonder if they're not allowed to watch movies about playful demons in other countries. Domestic opening, it opened to 111 million. So that's
if you get over that 100 million, you're
that's
usually
dynamite right there. And I got to imagine the budget wasn't extremely high.
right.
So
Wasn't Marvel's budget here?
no. That's the thing. They don't tell you these budgets anymore. And
I usually look it up on Wikipedia. Wikipedia usually has some info, however accurate it is or not.
But okay, here's the thing. If you haven't seen Beetlejuice, and you don't want any more spoilers slipping out and ruining the movie for you, now is your time to tune off. You ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we can spoil everything.
Okay.
But they totally fucked Bob over killing him.
Oh my god.
100%.
I was so sad.
A part of me wants to hope that we get like a sequel or, the trilogy and Bob somehow like floats out of the dust and reappears somewhere,
If there's another movie, they have to bring Bob back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think that they're up for another movie? I mean, I feel like
Well, the way it kind of ends.
they got to do another one now, especially how well received this one was.
Well, it kind of fits in, saying Beetlejuice names 3 times. I feel like that's valid, but I'm not sure what they would go with.
It just makes sense to make a third one.
Yeah.
Again, and the same thing kind of with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Like, I feel like they should have just planned the next movie, just shot them back to back or something.
Yeah.
Like
That would have been.
I get that maybe, obviously Ghostbusters had what was the other Ghostbusters? Afterlife, and that was successful. So they knew they were successful. And Beetlejuice is, like you say, pushing 40 years old. So maybe they were a little hesitant still. Like, oh, maybe people aren't gonna want to come back to this.
I like that they gave Beetlejuice a gut in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he's out of shape now, and he's just dealing with work and reading the paper at work, and he still had the 4x6 picture, or was it an 8x10 picture of Lydia was she in the wedding gown that they had?
I think it was just her in like one of her outfits from the first movie.
Yeah, but
yeah, I wish he's another one. They overdid him just a hair, like especially going back to watching the first movie. Even though, like I say again, he's still like one of the highlights. Just to have Keaton back in that role, he slips right back into it.
He really just nailed it, man. But one of the funniest parts that I laughed at was when they're trying to get out of they're trying to stop the boy that the antagonist, the true antagonist that steals away Astrid's life presence or whatever, and he goes to get the passport stamped, and it's Beetlejuice, and he's like, "See you later, fucker."
I believe it was Dostoevsky who said, "Later, fucker."
Yeah,
that's the one F-bomb in the movie. There is another F-bomb, but they bleep it out. But that was maybe the only like super duper laugh out loud moment for me. That was sort of my problem with it.
You didn't laugh at the songs though? I mean, my God, they were hilarious.
That was funny. The Brian Adams, or not Brian Adams, Richard Marx. Was it Richard Marx?
Yeah, Richard Marx, yeah.
That was funny. But it wasn't like laugh out like the later fucker was.
That was great. It was definitely the shining moment of that movie, I thought.
It's kind of out of the blue, like I had to really laugh at that one.
How did you feel about Lydia being like a talk show host, horror? What did they call that?
Again, like I wish they'd have started back at the house and maybe just alluded to her doing that.
Yeah,
and I meant to say it during the non-spoiler part. This has another thing I don't like about these later sequels. It's the same thing they did to Indiana Jones. They made his life kind of crap.
Yeah,
like wouldn't it have been enough to have been like, yeah, she's a horror host and her husband dead and her father died recently. Like she could have had an okay life and just been unhappy at the moment. She didn't have to be like on the pills.
And she didn't even know her father was dying. She got the news pretty late.
Right. So,
oh yeah, your father died.
Yeah. So that's something else. Like, do we have to make our characters totally miserable? They could be just a little miserable.
I did lose it though with his headstone was a shark fin.
Shark
I don't
fin,
know why that was so fucking funny to me. I was just like, I was laughing. There was like one other person laughing with me. And that
was definitely funny.
She's like, is that funny? I said, it's fucking hilarious.
I love where he's like walking around down in the underworld, and it's just this giant like torso with like a shark
balls and
like a shark ball or a shark bite, coming off the top.
Yeah,
like there's no head or anything, and
when he's talking, he's spitting blood.
Every time he's like going to talk, like the heart's pumping blood out or whatever. Like that was cool. I like that.
And that's one of those things like you said, it was cool, but it was totally unnecessary for most of it. Like there's the scene where he walks into the laundromat,
but they wrapped it all up towards the end, and she finds him in the underworld, and they're happily ever after.
And again,
And I like the way that they wrote out the original Ghost, because there was no reason for them to be in this one.
Well, the thing is, like they said, they found a loophole.
Yeah, she just said
they moved. I thought that was really dumb.
They said,
I don't think they needed to mention that, or at least explain.
Well,
it.
They had to, because people are going to be like, well, where did they go if they're ghosts and they're trapped in the house?
Well, that's my problem.
They moved on.
If they're gonna, and I wish they'd have found a decent way to do that. Like, oh yeah, they took part of the house with them or something.
They could have done like a claymation story on that instead of the parents.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I'll give you that.
I get it, like they're older and they can't look older yet, whatever.
Yeah.
But like they could have done an animated thing where they found the loophole and just show us what it was. Like I think that would have been cool.
Maybe Tim's got something against Alec Baldwin for firing the shot.
Yeah, could be. He's kind of. Again, I don't know if they're gonna have Jeffrey Jones in it. They can Alec Baldwin would have been okay. And that was another one. I just don't. I think that it rubbed a lot of people wrong. It's like, oh, it's a loophole. Like,
and I felt like
maybe they're saving them for the third one somehow.
It would have been like
if they make it,
maybe just not even mention it. That they're there.
That too.
But I'm sure people would have complained if they didn't mention it at all.
I'm still sad about Bob though. Like I want to get one of like a. You remember how people used to get T-shirts like airbrushed?
Yeah.
When somebody died, like I want to get like "Rest in Peace" and have Bob on there.
Yeah.
Like
Face on
that shit would be
I
hilarious.
like how they did like it hit memory of Bob.
Yeah.
I was like, she ain't gonna kill Bob, is she?
Oh,
And
she
she
waxed
did.
Bob.
But see, like that's
So
like
loud.
her storyline of like chasing after Beetlejuice. I feel like they could have cut most of it out. They could have just said she was doing it and not shown her, and or had her be more of the villain in a way.
I like the Beetlejuice like flashbacks and all that. That was cool.
Oddly enough, I didn't care for that too much.
You didn't like him like running around with it, being a piece of shit dude with a little gut.
Yeah, it's again, it's like I like it. I know I can see why Tim Burton left it in, but I kind of wish he hadn't. I wish he did. Like I said, it would have been so much better if it had been a little more streamlined. Like again, watching the first Beetlejuice, it's just very simple. Most of it is about them dying and crossing to the afterlife and just kind of getting Beetlejuice. And there's so much like creativity in that movie that when you think about it, you think it must have been packed of stuff, but it wasn't quite that way. And and like I said, again, that's sort of the opposite for this one. It is packed with stuff, but you really kind of start to feel the weight of it. And like I said, we haven't even mentioned yet the ghost boyfriend storyline.
Yeah.
Where it kind of
I don't know how I
doesn't
feel
really
like
go anywhere.
Yeah.
them saying, her inheriting the gifts and all that. Like I was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, and even in the first one, they say in the first one, people usually won't see the dead. Not that they can't or don't or whatever. They usually don't. Not that they won't or whatever. And so I wish they'd done some more with that. Like I said, I feel like that should have been kind of like the main thrust of the movie was like her meeting him and like some sort of like trick or treat, Halloween themed thing with the other stuff going around it.
At some like teenage party or something. That would have been cool.
Something
a Halloween
like
party.
I say, just like the way that Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin were kind of the heart of the first movie. Maybe it should have been them.
Yeah.
And then if they were going to do the Monica Bellucci thing, maybe they shouldn't have had him be a bad guy too. Maybe it should have been a little something else. And like I said, it's just too much for me. Too much of everything, and that it's kind of like throwing too many darts at the thing.
And for some reason it wasn't for me. And I get your point because I'm like that with a lot of movies. And like you mentioned before, like sometimes a lot is just distracting and takes away from the movie. But I don't know. I'm maintaining my defense. I just had so much fun watching it. I loved it, man.
I was just more surprised that I liked it as much as I did because I was kind of worried.
And I like how they did the underworld, like the sets and all that were just so great and they looked fun. And like, I just had fun watching it.
And it looked really good and practical too. Like you knew you were watching Tim Burton.
I'm just glad I didn't watch it with you and you ruined the vibe for me.
Well, I was kind of curious too, like with, the kid, like, oh, he killed his parents. Why he killed his parents? Does he want to come back and start killing people? Is that his
Figures
motive?
that's why you would.
So.
Because he hated his parents. That's why.
Boo-hoo.
That happens sometimes. People hate their parents and they kill them. It is what it is.
Well, it was back in the 90s, apparently, because that's what he said. He's in the 90s, so.
Maybe they told him he was too fat or something.
You're a loser.
You're obnoxious.
Go hang out your treehouse, pussy.
All right, so.
Yeah, like I said, I wish. Frustration. That's my main frustration.
His blood is boiling.
We all have different interpretations of Beetlejuice. But did you at least like it?
Yeah, I had fun with it. Like I said,
none of us here hate it, but PBS isn't as big as we are. So, and Rob's a little bit underneath me.
Like same thing with Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Like I want to like this so much, and it's so close. Like it's so close to being a better movie for me.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire had way too many people in it, though. Way too many.
It's really hard to follow up after Afterlife, how well that was good, how well done that was.